Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 127. This week has almost entirely been about my Tabletop Crafters United challenge, the Mack Truck and the diorama around it. I had a great time working on that. Most of this video was about that. That isn't all of the hobbying I've done this week. As always, there are bits and pieces that don't get into the vlog. For example, I have started the Battle Games in Middle-earth build, which will be out on the first Tuesday in May, and I'm having a great time. I've also actually started playing a game with Angela, which is wonderful as well. So we're getting a little bit of gaming time in, which does obviously cut into hobby time, but that's fine. It was a really good fun. I'm hoping to get a little bit more gaming next week as well before she goes away for a couple of weeks. So yeah, really, really cool there. And also I've been working towards delivering my anniversary miniature for the Paint All the Minis Discord. Now I'm keeping that off all my media, so off of Instagram and also the videos, just because it's supposed to be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm having a lot of fun, and I might even end up making one similar for myself, for my own collection, because it's really, really cool. So there are bits and pieces that have been going on. I've been managing to get my painting done as well, but yeah, largely about the Tabletop Crafters United build this week. So I hope you enjoy the video. I love the fact that you join me. I love the fact that so many people watch. Blows me away. Thank you so much for your support. Leave me a comment below. I reply to every single one of them, so don't be shy. Do say hello, and I really hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you again at the end. Well, Gwaihir went together really well. I just want to say that. And my confusion about the potentially broken claws was confusion. I wondered maybe, and the third claw on that foot was already attached to something else, so there wasn't anything missing. You can see in the background the plethora of Warbats. I actually have 4 more to assemble. And then I'll have another 12 to do as another batch. So I've been working on that. It's been a really nice, this is Sunday. It's been a really nice Sunday actually. Putting together Gwaihir, putting together the Warbats. Just doing really quiet things. Not much videoing going on because I'm not filming all the stages, but a really enjoyable, quiet, peaceful afternoon, which is what hobbying is all about. Yeah, what I'm going to do now is prime up and paint Gwaihir. I'll do progress reports on him. And show you how he goes. It's not going to be a very complicated paint job, I don't think. I'm not a great painter, so I will be doing I'll be painting as well as I possibly can. I might actually do a little bit of filling if I just zoom in a bit on his on the warg particularly, and there's a couple of other bits as well, but from this angle it's the warg. You can see there's a gap there which I think I might fill, just use the Mr. Putty, but the rest of it, there's only a couple of places where I might want to do that, so I'll get that done and then bring you along for the progress reports as I'm going. Fill and prime is first up though. So Rahki and Dolores, I remembered her name, has been finished, and you can see that I've stuck, I've not actually glued this in place, it's just pinned in place, but that's going to be fine. I might glue it in place later, but for now I'm not totally sure about the positioning, so I'm happy with that. This has been basically dipped in PVA multiple times to harden it, and it's nice and solid now. It's no longer shedding, and Dolores and Rahki are glued in. So yeah, really happy with that. No idea when the game is going to get played, but at least it's finished. That's my character. Hopefully we'll start to play the game at some point, but when it happens, I have my backstory and I have my character, so that's cool. Really enjoyed doing this. They're really cool miniatures, and the diorama ended up being really simple but being really effective, I think. Hope you like it. So here we are. This is a children's toy set. It actually comes with light and sound, which is pretty cool, and my plan is to take this and turn this into some cool terrain for the Wild West games I'm getting into. So let's have a look and see what's inside the box and work out how we're going to do it. I will have the train. I'm not sure if I have the train running. I don't know if it does run or not, but certainly what I'm going to be looking at doing is doing a little bit of work on the train to make it a bit more weathered. But the main part is going to be doing the tracks and making some terrain out of the tracks. So there's a couple of little bits of sellotape there. So I will get the box open, which is going to be noisy, and set the camera up again, and we'll have a look and see what's actually inside the box. Oh, there we are. That's pretty cool. So we've got a bunch of tracks, which are obviously going to need to be primed, painted and mounted. And we've got, move them out of the way, and we've got the train and the actual, which is actually pretty cool. Wheels go round. Looks like it might even have a drive wheel, I think. It looks like the back's a drive wheel, so it might even drive. I might even be able to have like a little bit of a little bit of moving terrain. And that is not so bad at all either, to be honest. I'm actually quite impressed with that. Obviously these bogies need a lot of work. They're probably going to want to be painted up. Well, they're definitely going to be painted up. They're bright red. So that's going to need to have some work done on it. But apart from that, they feel quite solid. Now, I don't know what this is. Oh, wow, look. There's a load of like stop signs and all sorts. Let's get this open. Okay, so what's in there is, these are stickers, a little bit crumpled, but that's okay. But you can see that is going to have like, so the platform sign can go on that. And you've got railroad crossings, keep right, stop, 25 speed limit. And you've got one of the worst trees I've ever seen in my life. But I'm still going to make it because that's going to be fun. So, cool stuff that's in the box there. I'm going to consider this, get my plans together, and then I'll bring you back when I've made my plans. But I think it's quite clear that I'm going to need to mount these. Probably what I'll try to do is mount them so it's one per terrain piece, and so the edge of the terrain is the edge of each of these sleepers, and then I can position it however I want, though it does look like it is literally just a circle. So yeah, I think there's more of these, so I might go back to the shop as well and pick up some more, see if there's any with straights or crossings or whatever to make it a little bit more interesting. But I'll just get this done as well, I think. I was pretty pleased with that. I didn't even know it came with these things. That's going to need to be painted and washed, probably mark in some wood effect, and then I'll be able to stick the railroad crossing sticker on that one. There we are. That's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Alright, so it's time to start mocking this up. I've still not varnished the Big Black Mack Truck, but that won't take me long to do when I get to it. And then there's the final chrome bits to stick on once I've varnished it. I don't want to, I've stuck a few chrome bits on which I probably shouldn't have done. I should have probably finished painting and varnishing before I did those. But anyway, so what I've got here is this is going to have the petrol pumps on it. And this is the front of the service station. I'm probably going to have it laid out like that. So there'll be a backdrop which I'll put behind the service station with maybe a picture of the inside of a workshop there, and this is glass as well, so there'll be the picture of an inside of like I'll just do a backdrop of some sort, I'm not sure exactly how, and then the petrol pumps will be here, and I will have a pump, it will be going into this, so I'm going to drill out the fuel tank, and that will be refilling basically. Then we've got the Hell No I Want to Drive girl. She is going to be stood leaning on the truck somewhere, as you can see, she's leaning. And then Jesus Dude, who has finished painting him, he's turned out quite nice, I think, will be standing kind of here talking to her. So that's the layout, and then the rest of the stuff will be put up, so the sign will go here and the dog will be running around and what have you, so there'll be a fair few other bits and pieces. But that's the layout I think I'm going to go with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of the black, thin black insulation that I like to use for basing for these sorts of things, particularly because it works so well as an asphalt with a little bit of black grout over the top of it, and it will prevent the wood from warping. So I'm going to get that, going to stick that down using my super strong glue that I like so much, which I actually probably need to buy some more of. I'm going through so much of it, I use it a lot now. So the Moment Fix Extreme, really good for gluing anything to anything. So I'll get that done, get it cut to size, get it trimmed down, get it glued on, finish painting up these elements and the other elements that I've got to paint, and then bring you back when that's all ready to be glued down. So yeah, pretty excited. We're getting there, not far off. Nice and early on this build, which is what I like, because I've got another big build I want to do very soon, and I need to get back to my battle games with Middle Earth as well, going off subject. So yeah, I'm excited to get this done. Really enjoying the build. It's been on my mind for a while to do. Really cool song, love it so much. So it's good to see it coming together, and that truck does look awesome. I'm about to find something out and share it with you live on camera. I'm going to try and find out whether yacht varnish, literally yacht varnish, goes well onto plastic, because I need to gloss up my truck, because I've been told in no uncertain terms that it should be gloss. So what I'm going to do is, this is actually one of the brushes you get with Elegoo with their resin, funnily enough. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply it a little bit on this side, very small amount, and just see how well it looks, whether it goes off well, before applying it all over and on the other side. The reason is this side is not going to be towards the viewer. You'd have to make a huge effort to see this, and that's going to be a good way to test what this looks like. So I'm just going to apply that tiny bit. I'll wash my brush off with some white spirits, and then later on I'll check to see how that looks, whether it's dried with much visible brush marks, and whether it's dried at all. But initially, application there, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So hopefully I'll be able to make use of this yacht varnish over the whole of it, because I don't actually have any gloss varnish for models, because I normally matte varnish. So yeah, this is the only gloss varnish I have to hand without having to go out to the shops. One thing that I really want to have in this service station is stuff in the windows. A couple of reasons, one of which will make it a bit easier to hide the fact that probably what's going to be behind isn't going to be very good. But also I wanted to have some Trace Adkins adverts. This here is actually the album cover for the song, so I pulled that out. And what I've also done is found an advert for his current tour. I wish I could get over for it, it'd be awesome. I've also found a couple of interesting kind of like posters. I think I might need to print that one a bit smaller, but I think these are maybe around the right size. It's a bit difficult to work out what size I want to do, so I've also found another of these, so I might put them down. But the big thing, and this is cool, is I'm doing some speech bubbles. So, do you want to ride is what your man here is going to be saying. So I'm going to cut that out, stick it to some solid card, and then stick that to him coming out of his mouth. Do you want to ride? Hell no, I want to drive. And that's what she's going to be saying. So some interesting paperwork there. It's really good having a colour printer. Brilliant investment. The duplex colour laser saves paper when I'm printing out rules, and I can do cool things like this. But what I'm going to do now is, I think I might print again, like I say, these ones a little bit smaller, but I'm looking at putting these in the window. Oh, it's not stuck on that, it's just wedged in. That's something else I didn't show actually. So I've marked this in place. I marked with a pencil on each end, and then took this tool here because it pulls out quite difficult to pull out, to put a really good solid dip, which is where this the front of the actual service station is going to be able to sit. And you can see, even without any glue, it does hold itself up. So when I come to glue that in place, that gives it a really nice bed. And what I'll do then is put the grout over the top. But what I'm going to do first, before I do any of that, I'm going to work out how these are going to sit in the windows, and then I'm going to actually do a little bit more painting on this as well. I'm just going to paint the rest of the service station white, so where it's grey now, I'm going to paint it all white. But yeah, that's that. I'm really enjoying this actually. This is now the fun part. The truck building was great, but building this little scene up is I'm just enjoying it a lot. Another thing I've done is I use the granite texture spray, which I don't often use aerosols, but this is really cool. So I've put the texture spray on the base of the service island where the petrol pumps actually sit on here, and that has worked out really nice for that effect. So yeah, really cool. So that's going to go on as well. Onwards, let's get these posters and what have you in the window, and get the rest of the surround of this painted, and then I'll come back for the next step. Alright, so now I'm getting my transfer on. So I've started doing this already just to remind myself of how to go about it. I've started putting the transfers on the big lollipop, as it's called, and what I'm going to do now is apply the transfers to the actual filling, the actual gas pumps. So you can see here we have, these are the transfers that are going to go on the gas pumps, and we're going to do one on camera because it is very much a case of doing the same thing over and over again for all these. So the first thing you've got to do is cut your transfer out. Now you can use a scissors if you want to, but I find a sharp knife to be a little bit easier to work with. So you cut that out, and then here I have a little bowl with some warm water in it, which I will drop the transfer into like that and leave it in there for the second. I like using microsol and microset. I find that they make a massive difference for applying transfers, so I would highly recommend that if you're going to do this, you invest into these two little pots. That what you see there, I have had for literally years. And while I don't do a huge amount of transfer work, they're just going to last forever. So basically what we do is we take the microset, which is the blue one, and this is the one that I'm going to stick it to. So we take the microset and very carefully taking a brush, you brush on where you want your transfer to go. Now this particular one that I'm doing here is going to go on the front of the pump. So we put some microset on there, and then do the lid up, because if you're anything like me and clumsy in any way, that will just end up going everywhere. You don't want to knock it over. So now you've got that on there, get some needle nose tweezers, and the warm water should, for small transfers you'll definitely need the tweezers, but for larger ones it can be easier to use just your fingers and drop it on. Then you get some more microset. I've still got some on this brush, obviously, pick up the right brush, and use your brush to move the transfer into place. Be very careful, because you don't want to tear it, because it will be a little bit delicate. The microset does act as a softener, but it also acts to actually help you to position the transfer. So we're looking at getting it in exactly the right place. That looks good to me. Let me just point the camera a little bit more at the specifics of what I'm doing. Don't need to be so general. So what I'm now doing is I'm now going to get the microsol, use a different brush for the microsol, and basically put that over the top. Now what this does is it allows, I believe it actually does the fixing of the transfer in place, and then you leave it, and that is done. So it's a really simple, quick process. I've got to do that on all these. I've got a few other bits and pieces I want to do. I also have the Joe's power, got to go across the top here. Oh, you can see that I've stuck my stuff on, looking really cool. So I've got like some stickers to go here, stickers around here, the actual signage to go there. So I've got quite a lot of transfer work to do, so I'm going to get all that done now, yeah, when that's done I can start to stick everything together and glue things on, which is really cool, getting there. Really excited. Alright, now we get to the exciting part of gluing these bits down. So you can see I've put lots of the transfers onto the building, which is cool. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue that in place, and I'm also going to stick down the island and also put the sign, and the sign's going to go here, I think, which is a little bit of an odd place for it, but whatever, don't care, it's fine. So I'm going to use the Moment Fix Extreme, which I like so much, and the idea I've got for sticking this down, which I hope is going to work, is I'm going to put a bead of the Moment Fix down where the walls are, but not across the entrance, and again put a bead here, and then I'm going to attempt to smooth it on either side. So let me show you what I mean. So if we
because I'm going to be grouting and painting what have you the base anyway, so I should be able to cover up this white well enough. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this into the groove that I cut previously, if I can, and then smooth this, kind of grout it in like that. And then what I'll do is I'll come along with the grout when I do the grouting, which will be the next step after this is dried, and I'll be able to cover that up and hide that hopefully. So there we are, that's the idea. What I might end up doing is getting some 90-degree weights. Now the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stick down these with the same material, with the same glue. But first let me just get some 90-degree jobbies on this, just to make sure that it doesn't get stuck down and not be straight up or down. There we are, that's better. So that'll hold it in place. Let's just wipe that off there a bit. Good. So yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is exactly the same kind of idea, but for this one it's a little bit simpler. What I'm going to do is put a thick bead all the way around the bottom and then press it down like that, and that wants to go there, and then I'll do the same thing on the bottom of this, kind of fill this up a bit, put quite a lot in the middle, and then a bead around the edge, and that should hold it in place. So I'll leave that to dry now, that to go off, and bring it back for the next step. The next step will be applying the grout. Sorry, I had that in the way then. Worrying more about what I'm doing than filming, but that's the way it is. So that's now glued down. I'll let that go off and bring you back for the next step, which will be applying the grout. Now it's time for the application of grout. So I've just set these here just to have a look and see how they look, but I'm going to take them off while I'm putting the grout in. But I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to not do this on camera because I've done it a lot of times. There's a video below in the description of how I make my grout mix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use black grout and then I'm going to paint it grey. So I'm going to apply the grout and I'll bring you back once it's applied and when I'm about to start doing the painting. But I'm going to do this over the entire area, including inside and behind Joe's Power Plus frontage. Really pleased with this. It's looking brilliant, love it. I can't wait to get it all together and show you the final touch. Final touches, can't wait to complete it. Really want to do that this week, so let's crack on. That was a nice little push, didn't take very long, and all of these berserkers have now been based nicely, as you can see, and also that big dude there as well. So I'm waiting for another base to come so I can do the final one of them, but now these can be transferred over to the storage, to the display, and hopefully I'll get a game with them at some point. I've sealed that with PVA as well, so it's I did the fast basing and then seal with PVA afterwards just to make sure there's no dust. So I'm very pleased with that. They've been staring at me for years. Finish me, finish me, finish me. And now I finally have. So that wasn't ideal. Not sure how well this is going to work. My grey paint has substantially separated and got quite stinky. I've spent quite a long time mixing it and I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. Fortunately I'm not dry brushing with this dark grey. But yeah, not ideal. I might have to bin it, which I don't like because it's going to be quite a lot of waste. But the stage I'm coming to now is painting grey, dark grey over all of the base. And that's inside and outside. Because I don't mind if I do it a little bit thin in places. The black's going to show through fine. But this is basically going to give me a nice undercoat. And then I will be able to apply the last colours. Inside and out before I start to apply all the detritus and gravel and what have you that I want to do. This is basically building up the framework for the underneath. Now I might want a bigger brush, otherwise it's just going to take longer than it needs to. But yeah, I'm just going to basically paint over the whole of this. And like I say, I just hope that this paint is actually going to last, because yeah, I'm a bit annoyed. It was alright last time I used it, which was not that long ago actually, and I don't know whether I've dropped something into it That could have happened, but yeah, it just was totally separated and very, very stinky. And now I'm going to finish painting this and get a bigger brush and paint this all. I'll bring you back when I come to the next step. Well, what do we have here? We have my Sarissa order, which is pretty cool. So let's have a look and see what it was that I picked up. I haven't opened it. Opening it open it on camera so you can see my true reaction. I do like Sarissa. I must admit that TT combat stuff has really impressed me. But I've always been a Sarissa boy, really. Okay, so what do we have? We have the mining wheelhouse. We have the lumber mill. We have the blacksmith's forge. We have a ghost town derelict shack. We have a livery stables. We have an Old West wagon one, a chuck wagon, and a wind water pump. We also have lots and lots and lots, a burned out derelict barn. We have a hotel, that's really cool looking. These are good because they're wooden. We have a medium building, style number 5. Goodness me. We have a store or a shop. I bought lots. We have a water tower, that's going to go well with my train. We have a stagecoach, start putting on this side. There's a lot of stuff here. We have a Surrey carriage. We have a trail wagon, telegraph poles. We have stencils. Okay, cool. And we have another truck wagon. And that's it. So there we are. A huge pile more of MDF for me to make, and you can be sure that this will be on the channel when I get to it. So yeah, big pile of MDF and a whole load more stuff for Wild West. I might have enough now, but of course I don't, because I've got more coming from other companies, which you'll have to wait and see. But yeah, really, really cool. That'll go into the Mountain of Opportunity and get picked up in the very near future, I'm sure. This is really starting to come on nicely now. As you can see, the grey paint has dried really well. And look at the bling on that. The varnish went well, I've added the chromes, pretty much finished now on the truck. But as I've been staring at this, I've realised that I was missing a little step at the front of the door. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to have to trim this down because it's because I've set this in so deep, it's a little bit low. So I'm actually going to have to, sounds crazy, I'm going to have to cut that a little bit with the Proxon. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this black foam on as a step, as a little bit of pavement. I'm going to curve the corner and then it does actually go over the edge. It goes right to the edge, so that's what I want really. Or I'm not sure, I might either curve the corner here and have it running off, or have it so that it's just like this. I'll decide, and I'll glue that in place and then put the grout mixture on top of it to have as a pavement or walkway in front of the door, and that will just finish off that little bit of what's it. So yeah, pretty happy with how this is coming on. The next step is going to be to do a lighter colour inside the workshop, and then finish off with dust and dirt and what have you outside here, and then obviously I need to put the figures in place and also put the actual pumps in place and finish that little bit off there. I've still got to make the pump, and that's going to be stuck into the side of the car. The idea is that this will be refueling, so we will have an actual the tube will be going from there and will be going into the petrol tank. So yeah, it's going to be a full scene. Anyway, I'll get this little walkway done and then I'll bring you back for the next step, whatever that is, when I get to it. So now I've got my lighter grey. I'm going to do two things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it on, and again I might need a bigger brush having picked up my small brush. I'm going to paint it on quite thickly, not as a dry brush, inside the garage here, which I'll do off camera, but I'm also going to paint it on again thickly, not as a dry brush, over the walkway that I've added here. once I've done that, what I'll do is I will get my dry brush, which I have here, and a bit of paper, which I have down here. There we are. And what I will then do is dry brush over the rest of the piece. So those are the three things I'm going to do. I'll get most of it done off camera because it's very repetitive, but now you can see what my plan is. And after I've done that, then I'll be coming in with like dust and gravel and what have you to really add a little bit of contrasts and textures and what have you onto this. And then it'll be nearly finished, which is really cool. So yeah, I'll get that done off camera and bring it back and show you what it looks like when it's finished. That's looking really nice. We're starting to get a good touch and a good feel for this now. And what I'm going to do next is I have some of my terrain glue, which is just watered down PVA basically. I'm going to come along and I'm going to put this in places along the edges where dust and gravel may reasonably be expected to gather. So up here and also along the edge of this curb, like that. I'll do most of this off camera again because frankly it's going to be quite a delicate detailed thing because I'm coming in and I'm using pinches to drop dust and gravel in these places, and I don't want to overwhelm it. One of the things I don't do in my models is get too grimy. It's definitely going to be a bit dirty. There's going to be oil on the floor, which I'll do next, so there'll be some washes. But I don't think that there'll be too much, in my mind, anyway for this, there'll be too much gravel or grit. I think it would more be in key places like that corner. And what I'm doing here is I'm using unsifted, so this has been dried obviously, but I haven't filtered for size, builder's sand. So I'm going to do that, put a couple of bits and pieces, maybe some more around the front, around where the petrol is, but more likely just in that gap between the island and the big sign. And then I will come along, and I can pretty much do it now to be honest, if I'm careful. I will then come along and look to seal in the stones by going over the top with more PVA. Now I am wanting to finish this, which is why I'm doing this now rather than waiting, because really what I should do is wait for the glue underneath to dry before attempting to seal. But if you're impatient, you can be careful and skip a drying step by coming along and sealing now. If you are able to get a spray can, a spray thing to work, then that makes it even better because you can just come in and spray or use droppers or whatever. But I'm going to just use this brush and very carefully seal down this gravel, and then when that's dry, that'll be done. So I'll get this done, and then we'll come back and do the next step, which is going to be making use of grout to put on some dust lines for where cars are driven through, but I'll do that next once this is all dry. So now everything's dry, what I'm going to do is I have some kind of pale dusty grout, and this is a complete experiment by the way. And what I want to do is kind of try to brush it on to give some dust coming through the service area. Just like that. So I'm going to dust it on like a powder, weathering powder, going into the service bay. I'm getting excited, can you tell? I'm excited about how this is looking. Don't want too much. It spreads quite nicely, but just to give it a little bit of a patina of use, a little bit of gravel there. That's I have tried to knock off all the loose gravel, but that obviously hasn't worked very well. Yeah, so we're just going to come in here and do this, get some dust and what have you going on in this whole area. And then what I'm going to do to seal it in place is I have a little spritzer bottle here with some water in it. That's all there is in there, and that will hopefully work. Of course, this could also ruin the entire thing. So I am a little bit nervous of this. I think that's enough. That looks quite nice. I'm not sure how well that's coming out because of the way the sun is, but
apologies for that. Let me just readjust my camera position so that you can actually see what's going on, and we'll do the spritz. That was a better place to do it. So you can see I've put the dust on here, which is the dust, which is basically trying to simulate the fact that people have driven through and what have you and brought things onto the service station. And what I'm now going to do, not that much, I want to mist it. So I'm going to come quite a long way away and attempt to mist that on just to seal it in place. And hopefully this won't ruin it. But we shall see. So I'll put that to dry, and hopefully that will mean that this dust still remains looking dusty. If it doesn't, then I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because I'm right at the end of the build. But you've got to live and learn, haven't you? So you've got to try things. Let's see how that looks. Well, the good news is that spraying of water does seem to have bedded down very nicely and locked that in place, which is really cool, and it hasn't caused any lifting or any other damage to anything else. So rock and roll, full success. So what I'm going to do now, we really are starting to get to the end of this. I'm going to glue these in place, because once they're in place, then I can start to put the rest of the dressing on, as in the hose from the petrol pump that will be going to the actual truck, and then also put the miniatures in place. So just use some super glue, glue that in, and then when this is all set and dry, then I will start to do the final dressing of this. And I'm very happy with how it's looking, really pleased with it, and very excited to see it all completed and all together. So yeah, I will get that done and bring you back for the next step when I get to it. So the petrol pump handle and what have you, and the attachments that are going to go onto these pumps, is I've started painting them up, what have you. So they will be attached. What I'm realising is that I'm now going to start to place my two figures, and I probably need to actually stick the truck down, which I was hoping that I might not have to, but as you can see, the hell no girl, I want her to be leaning on the front on the there while she's talking, and yeah, so the truck is going to have to be glued down, otherwise that's not going to work. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to put a dab of super glue on each of the wheels, set it in place, and then I'll stick the two figures in place as well at the same time. And I've also got the little doggy, which I'm not totally sure where he's going to go. I've actually just noticed I've not even finished painting him, so probably that will have to get painted tonight. He might be kind of standing over here, I think. But yeah, so I'm going to do that now, just glue those in place, glue the figures in place, and then once that's all set, then we will do the final thing, which for the figures, which I'm the most excited about, which is putting the speech bubbles on. Very cool. So I'll get these glued down and bring you back for the next step very shortly. So now we come to the final fun bits. As you can see, I have been working away on the petrol pump, and here is the petrol nozzle and the pipe, and the hose is very long, but I've decided to leave it full length. Maybe that was a mistake. So I've attached both, and they're both attached at the pump. One of them is going to end up actually being, if I can feed that through, stuck and glued in to where the fuel filler would be, so it's going to end up being stuck in there. So what I'll be doing is snipping the end off of that, and it's not very easy to see just because it's so fine detailed. Let me see if I can make sure that focus is a bit easier. Put my hand behind it. Yeah, so I'm going to cut most of the nozzle off that's worked better, and glue that in place onto the truck. What I'm waiting for now is the little hook there is drying, because what I'll need to do is wind the hose around that hook, glue it in place, and then once that's dried, then I'll be able to glue the hook into the fuel. But yeah, really close to finishing this up now, so I'll just wait for the hook to dry. On the other side, on this one, what will happen is it will be wound around the hook twice, and then glued in place into the little kind of like catch there where the petrol pump actually should sit. And that is the final things, I think. Then I'll be looking at finishing off over here. So yeah, I'll get that done, show you what that looks like, and then we'll put the speech bubbles in, and the little doggy in, and then we're done. So this is moving along in my 20-minute paintings, 22 minutes. I'm well into the second coat of all the colours. The blue and yellow have been done on everything, and this I've just done the cream. I haven't done all the cream on the main body. But if we move over here to this tray, these are basically all done apart from the bands on the guns, which I'm not totally sure what colour I'm going to do, so they're not done, but everything else is done on this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a second coat of the metal. I kind of like how it looks a bit distressed. I have started on one of the other fighter ones for the diorama, but I've not put very much time into that. But there is progress happening. I haven't painted actually for the last couple of days, been busy with family, which is more important, as you know. So yeah, just basically decided, well, you know what, I'm not going to. But this is coming to conclusion of the first coat, and then it'll be a case of detailing, but that's pretty cool. So my batch of Warbats is coming on. I've done I've done the first colour on the base, so just a grey contrast paint, and then as you can see, I've started painting up. There's 4 here that have the first initial colours on, and I've actually decided to do try a little bit of undercoat or undercolours, so put little black splotches on the wings of these two just as an experiment to see how it looks. But yeah, I'm really enjoying painting these up, just trying to get a little bit done every day. Hopefully they'll all be finished. That's 12 more, that's the last of the Warbats. Then I'll have 24 Warbats, and yeah, that's probably enough for anyone, I think. My bust a month for April is this particular wonderful model, and as you can see, I've made a start. Not a huge start, but I have made a start. Painted the first skin tone, put some silver detailing on, and the orb is orange. So yeah, really cool sculpt. I need to get a little bit more time into this. Maybe I'll get some time later on today to get a bit more done. But yeah, this is the update as of Sunday, and I think I'm still on track to finish it, so that's cool. Oh, the petrol pumps are done. You can see there the nozzle is into the fuel tank, and now we come to the moment of truth. So let me lock this camera in. I'm probably only going to glue one in on camera because it's a bit fiddly and I'm not entirely sure actually how long I'm going to have to hold it for. But the do you want to ride? Jesus. I'm going to glue the speech bubble down there. So it's going to be able to put some glue on the side of his face and on his hair, and that is going to give me a relatively good binding point to hold this. The Hell No Woman, I am less certain of how I'm going to do the gluing, so I'll get that done off camera and show you when it's done. So yes, I'm probably going to have to stand here and hold this for a bit. So I'll probably turn the camera off, get this set, and then bring you back when I've done the second speech bubble and show what it looks like. And there you have it. Do you want to ride? Hell no, I want to drive. And you can see the puppy is in the background, finished painting and ready to be put on. So that is pretty much done. There might be some more little bits and pieces that I'll assemble on, but I'm probably not going to glue them in place. So I've got like that little red barrel there and a few other bits and pieces. But for all intents and purposes, that is completed. Very cool. So I'll get those final dressings done and then wrap this project up. Wonderful. Very pleased with how it's looking. Well, there you are. As I say, largely about this TCU build, but there was actually a little bit more as I edited that scattered through of different things that I've done this week. Just goes to show how bad my memory is. But yeah, it's been a fun week. I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that maybe I've accompanied you while you've been hobbying. I know a few people do watch my videos, have me on in the background while you're doing your own hobbies, and that's awesome. I love that. Obviously, you know, stuck here in the wilds of deepest southern Bulgaria, it's there's not much hobby partnership around here, so it's good to know virtually, even if you know, I'm able to join in that way. That's really cool for me to know, so thanks for everyone that's told me that recently. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, particularly if you've got this far. It's not been a really short video, but none of mine are. So yeah, thanks if you've made it right the way to the end. This week, the news from Ukraine has been, well, still horrific, but slightly more positive, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the news can get better and better. If anyone out there is indirectly or directly affected, then you have my thoughts. I'm really thinking about it every minute of the day, frankly. Horrific things happening over there right now. Some very disgusting things that came out this week. But yeah, let's hope that this can rapidly come to a resolution. And that's enough politics. Thank you for watching. Really do appreciate it. And as always, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.